Am I wrong for telling my niece the family secret? I, 35 female, had two older sisters growing up, Jane and Kim. Kim got sick and died, but not before giving birth to my niece, Laura, 18 female. It had been a year after Kim's passing when Jane and Laura's dad, Tom, 42 male, confessed to dating and were now engaged. Bro, I don't understand. I never understand sisters going after the same guy. Especially after they have a baby together. That's so weird. That's so nasty. I accused them of cheating. Jane and Tom explained that this wasn't something they had planned, but there was no cheating and knew that Kim would want them to be happy. Yeah, but not with each other. You can be happy with someone else. Convenient since she's, dead. I did not attend the wedding and was super upset at how everyone else was so accepting of the relationship. But the thing that hurt me the most was how Jane and Tom intended to completely erase Kim and Laura's life. She was barely 2 when Kim died, and they decided it would be better if Laura thought Jane was her mother in every sense of the word after the adoption was finalized. Tom got rid of any items that would suggest he and Kim were ever in a relationship, and made his family swear to never tell Laura the truth. Jane expected everyone on our side of the family to do the same, but I refused, and as such, I was denied access to Laura. It hurt, but when I thought about all those times Kim cried, knowing that she wouldn't live long enough to see Laura grow up, there was just no way I could honor the lie. They even had Laura's name illegally changed to something that Jane liked, as Kim picked out Laura's first name. I distanced myself from my family over time over this, but my parents always tried to get us to reconcile, citing that they didn't like this arrangement either, but accepting it was better than not being a part of Laura's life at all. I just couldn't do it. Growing up, Laura had known of me, but we never really interacted. Apparently, she's interested in studying a field that I work in and reached out to me through social media. The last time I saw her, she was 7, and I started to tear up about how much she looked like him. We would talk from time to time, and eventually Laura asked why I wasn't around. I tried to keep it vague, but Laura knew that there was more to the story, as I didn't seem like the person I was described to be. If we had been talking through DMs like before, I probably wouldn't have done it, but we were video chatting, and something about looking directly into her eyes broke me, and I confessed to everything. Before Kim died, she and I made a series of videos for Laura to watch at her big moments, and I told her that if she ever wanted to watch any of them, I'd send them. Laura asked me to send some, and then I heard nothing from her for days. Recently, I got a call from an enraged Jane and Tom berating me for ruining their family. After Laura watched some of the videos, she confronted my parents, who confirmed everything. Laura has moved out and currently not speaking to anyone, and no one knows where she is right now. Everyone is angry at me. So, am I the asshole? Let me clarify some things. My parents talked about Kim and had pictures of her in the house, so Laura knew who she was. She just didn't know that Kim gave birth to her. Am I wrong for firing my sister after seeing her blog and not rehiring her without an apology? Basically what happened is I read my sister's blog. It was sent to me by a friend of mine who was asking if one of the characters was me. Spoiler alert, it was. It's a couple of years old and really popular. She doesn't use our family's real names, but they are very similar and use the same first letters. So think real names Kathy, Julia, Marissa, and Brad, and then the fake names being Kathy, June, Marine, and Bob. It's descriptive enough of our lives and what we do for work that my friend identified me from it. It's mostly about her and her life, but there is still a lot about us. A year ago, I had an abortion. It was during the lowest point in my life so far, and only she and my husband knew about it. She swore to me that she would take the secret to her grave. Yeah, she wrote a whole entry about it. A couple of months ago, she and her husband got laid off due to world events. I run my own business that wasn't really affected, and I offered her a job there to help her out. She's not qualified in my field, so I essentially made up a position for her so she could have a steady paycheck. She basically does data entry and other random tasks online from her home. Her blog since then has basically centered on how much she hates it. She called it demeaning work and says a bunch of bullshit about how I obviously don't respect her intelligence. I say this is BS because 1, she would need years of training to work any of the open positions. 2, I told her what she would do when I offered it, and she gushed about how grateful she was that I was really helping her. I called her and told her what I had read and how hurt I was. Her defense is that the blog is her online diary where she vents and that I should know not to take any of it personally. She actually had the gall to tell me that she is hurt that I read it. Ugh. Bitch, it's fucking public! Apparently, the right thing to do was ignore it. I told her off for telling the internet my secrets and dragging me online where I could be, and was found out by people who know me. She just said she did all her due diligence by changing the names and it wasn't her fault my friend found it. We argued for a bit, it got increasingly heated, and I fired her. I told her that if she couldn't apologize or see how she was wrong here, then she wasn't who I thought she is and she could find a job where she felt more respected. It's been a week and I haven't spoken to her at all. Her husband has been contacting me on her behalf trying to get her job back as they need the money. He claims she is sorry, but I think if she was, then she could tell me herself. My own husband is telling me I'm overreacting and she's family and I should just forget it. I don't agree. So am I the asshole here? I have a 9-year-old daughter who I named after my late grandmother, Annabelle, and I'm currently pregnant. If I'm having a girl, I want to name her after my other grandmother, Rose. My sister got pregnant about 5 months before me and says she wants to name her baby Rose. I said our kids can share the name, but she says I already have Annabelle and could have named her Annabelle Rose, but passed up on the chance. So now I can't have Rose. I told her I'll look for something else, but reserve the right to use Rose if I want to. Then I fell in love with the name Rosalie. It honors my late grandmother, my boyfriend loves it, and it won't piss off my sister. A couple of weeks later, my sister gives birth and announces her daughter's name is Rosalie. I am beyond upset because now she's trying to snatch both names from me. My mom calls me to say she knew my sister was planning to do this and hopes I'm not upset because this means I can take the original name I wanted, which was Rose. But I told my mom I'm sticking with Rosalie. She said it's impractical because both Rosalies will have the same surname. My sister is a single mom and my boyfriend will be taking my last name. My sister then calls me to say I'm an inconsiderate prick and that I'm being petty. She can name her kid whatever she wants and I can't monopolize the name. I said true, so by that same logic, I can use Rosalie. She says having two Rosalies will cause problems, and I say she's the one with the problem so she can change her kid's name, or just deal with it. She cursed me out and hung up on me. My mom, dad, and brother are all on her side, and it's just been confirmed I'm having a girl. So, am I the asshole? Am I wrong for forcing my roommate to miss her finals exam that she spent 2 years studying for? Context: I live with a roommate and her 3-year-old child. Roommate is a 4th-year medical student and is really struggling having to balance with child, intense study workload, chores, and part-time jobs to afford rent, babysitter, and necessities. On the day of the biggest exam of her entire degree, her babysitter canceled last minute. She was absolutely frantic and hysterically called every one of her contacts to help. Of course, she asked me. She has asked me before to babysit, and I always give a stern no. It's not the time that I need to spend, since I'm perfectly fine with swapping around chores, but the principle that I must be responsible for the child for the duration. Example, if the child hurts himself, no matter how badly, it would be on me. And I refuse to take that responsibility for something like that, so I always refuse to babysit. She begged me, and since the journey to her exam center is almost 2 hours and she needed to go now, she just said, "I don't effing care," and just left the house. Frankly, I found this quite disrespectful as it is trying to push me to babysit without my consent. Right after she left, I grabbed my coat and also left. She was starting her car when she saw me and asked what I was doing. I told her I was going to watch a movie. I lied. I just refused to babysit without consent. Her eyes dropped and I could see the tears forming as she started begging me more to help her. I still explained the same thing in that it's not the time or effort but the responsibility. She told me she would sign a waiver that states I am 100% not responsible no matter what happens. I am not an expert in law and not sure if such a waiver is even legally enforceable. Even so, it still carries a responsibility risk, so I stand my ground. Eventually, she became quiet and started sobbing while hitting herself. I, as respectably as I can, asked if there's anything I can help with that does not involve babysitting the child. She told me to F off, so I did and actually went to watch a movie. It's been a few weeks and she still absolutely refuses to communicate with me. I do feel pretty bad, since I've seen for the past 2 years we've lived together that she has almost no free time, always sleeps later than me and wakes up earlier than me to cram in a little bit of extra study. I know the exam meant a lot to her and missing the exam might jeopardize her entire degree of 4 years. It sucks that her efforts for the past 2 years has gone down the drain, but that's not an excuse to cross my bottom line. Am I wrong for how I reacted to my wife's pregnancy announcement? My wife, female 26, and I, 30 male, decided to start having kids. We've been trying for over 9 months and nothing happened. We were told to be patient, but I couldn't help but stressing out about a problem that's preventing us from conceiving. The issue is that my wife kept joking about this matter and pranked me twice by lying to me saying she was pregnant. The first was when I was at work and she sent a text telling me she was pregnant. I was so happy I came home and brought stuff with me to celebrate, only to find her laughing in my face saying it was a prank. Second time she told me she was pregnant, she was recording my reaction during and after the prank. Again laughing, telling me it was a prank, but this time she shared the video with her family. I told her I didn't appreciate how she laughs about a serious matter, then having me believe it was true only to ruin my happiness. She stopped for 2 months. Last night we were at my parents' house sitting having dinner when she said she had a gift for me. She had my sister go bring a small teddy bear with a note on it and gave it to me. I was nervous and worried about her pulling some of her pranks on me in front of my family. I read the note that the teddy bear had on it and it said that I was going to be a dad. I looked at my wife and she smiled at me and congratulated me saying she was pregnant. I saw red completely. I got up from my seat and tossed a piece of paper on the table and just snapped, telling her to stop making fun of something so serious and sensitive. I told her I was done with her lack of respect and sympathy for the most important thing that I've been struggling with, and to include my parents in her prank was too low. My wife excused herself to the bathroom. My mom and dad were unaware of what was happening. They literally paused and asked what the hell is wrong with me. My sister said my wife was actually pregnant and just confirmed by tests that she's seen with her own eyes. I felt both happy and devastated because I thought she was pulling the same prank again and I got fed up with it. My wife got mad and argued with me in the car, saying I ruined her joy and made her look awful in front of my family, as well as lashing out on her as my reaction to the happy news. She said she told me in front of my parents to show me she was serious this time. She had her mom called to berate me and said her poor daughter will suffer with my boorish behavior and lack of respect for her. My wife has been giving me the cold shoulder ever since. So, am I the asshole here? This is like, what is that story called? That fairy tale? The dude with he kept saying something to the villagers, and the villagers kept coming, and the boy who cried wolf. This is literally the boy who cried wolf. Am I wrong for demanding my girlfriend to change her dress for a wedding? This happened during this weekend, me being in my early 30s and my girlfriend in her late 20s. I was invited to a wedding ceremony of a colleague, and I could bring someone with me. I asked my girlfriend that I've been dating for a year if she would like to join me, and she was really happy because she apparently loves weddings. Since we don't live together, I drove to pick her up so we'd have some time to spare before the ceremony. She's also wearing an off-white dress that was rather ornate. As she comes out, she looks really beautiful and has obviously put in time to fix her hair and makeup. As she got in, I told her she looked stunning, but I asked if she could change into a different colored dress for the ceremony. I'm not one for etiquette by far, but one of the few things I have heard everywhere is that you should not wear white to a wedding, unless you're the bride. She became pretty upset and wanted to know what was wrong with her dress. I said that it would be inappropriate to wear a white or off-white dress unless you're the bride, and that it's like wedding law or something, trying to be lighthearted about it. She rolled her eyes and said that it was an outdated tradition about women and virginity, and that when her friends got married, everyone wore white and that it's not a big thing anymore. I still thought she should change to another color but white or almost white because my colleague was getting married and we had no idea how she felt about it. My girlfriend became really upset and told me I was trying to control what she was wearing and that it was abusive. Which honestly made me really upset and hurt. I said something along the lines of, "Duck, well, you shouldn't go to a wedding with an abuser then." And then I told her to get the F out of my car. She began to cry and wanted to apologize and give me a hug. But I just told her to get out, which she did. To clarify, we never left the driveway by her home. I did not drop her off in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. I drove off and she called and texted me a bunch. I answered, "I don't want to talk right now," and then turned my phone off and attended the ceremony. The bride was the only one that was wearing white, so I feel as if my gut feeling was in the right. When I got home, my phone had blown up by text from her and her best friend saying that I was being inconsiderate and controlling and should apologize for my behavior. I feel as if I was in the right since it was my colleague's wedding and it was better to be safe than sorry, but I'm also not sure if I was being an asshole about the situation. I don't understand people's obsession with trying to wear white to someone else's wedding. You don't even know the person either. It's your boyfriend's, a colleague's wedding. Like, huh? Am I the asshole for insulting my boyfriend's weight in front of his friends? Relevant to the story, my boyfriend is 6 feet tall and about 229 pounds. I am 5'6" and about 120 pounds. From a medical standpoint, my boyfriend is obese and I am fairly normal weight. I really don't mind his